Yeah, we try to do it on everybody, but obviously knowing that we had a potential to draft pretty high, it wasn't like this was the first time we'd heard of him. We'd seen him in the high school scene. He was a pretty highly rated high school player. And so we try to spend as much time with those guys as possible and get to know them. So spending time at practice, going to games, even in the grassroots scene when we're allowed to see those guys, we try to make sure that we get eyes on them. So he'd been somebody that we knew a lot about. And when the opportunity was there for, we were really excited to draft him. So.
Tell me what you like about him specifically.
A lot of different things. He's very versatile. He's tough. He's smart. Most times you don't see highly rated players go to a school and be willing to play a role, right? He played on the ball and off the ball in high school and, was doing things that he just wasn't able to showcase sometimes at UConn because they were so good and they were deep and they were experienced. And so that ability to sacrifice for the betterment of the team is something that stood out to us as well, right? Because that's something you're going to have to do across the course of your career, everybody. And so that stood out as a great quality, but he's tough, he's smart, he's a team-first guy, he's a hard worker, and he comes from a program where they're getting coached hard every single day. They work hard, they practice hard, they're competitive, and they execute, and that meant a lot to us.
Pop's not going to scare him, I guess.
Not at all.
He's a guy who's, I think, been on record saying he thinks he's a point guard. Obviously, he's played on ball, off ball. Where do you guys kind of see him?
He's a basketball player, and so I think you'll see him all over the place. As much as he played point guard in high school, you would see him setting the screen and rolling to the basket and finishing. So that type of versatility is great. And again, guys come in and work and show you where they're best. And so we'll see where that lands. But he's got great skills, great versatility, and we're excited to see where that goes.
Is that where basketball's going, where you have guards who can hit the short roll and find people around the court?
Yeah, I mean, you look at how we played last year, and Tre Jones was rolling to the basket and was great at it, right? So I think the versatility and the uniqueness of some of the guys we have on the roster allows you to do things differently than you would traditionally look at basketball. And so that's a skill that we value.
You talk about him coming out of high school. I think he was a 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
How far back do y'all go and look at this stuff? I know he gets criticism for his shooting. He looks like a good shooter. His mechanics look all right.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of a deep cut, but
yeah.
How far back do y'all go when you're looking at stuff like this?
Keep the inside information safe, but yeah, we try to go back as far as we can. As far as we're allowed. The more information you have, the better, and it just paints the complete picture. These guys are on college campuses sometimes for 6, 7, 8 months. Right. And so you may only see something there that if you haven't seen it anywhere else, you may miss something. So we're fortunate to see him play there, but also see some of the things that maybe he didn't showcase on such a great championship team.
Even though maybe his three-point percentage wasn't there last year, do you look at his mechanics as something you can work with?
Mechanics and free throw percentage, and you break the season up into stretches. He missed some time. How did he shoot coming back from injury? How did he finish the season? I think you look at all those things, and on a team like Connecticut, you don't have the ability to shoot yourself out of a slump sometimes, right? So you get 8 shots or 7 shots sometimes. You don't get to shoot 18 times to shoot your way out of a bad shooting game. And so you have to take the whole context into the equation. So we believe he'll continue to improve there. And again, it starts with who he is as a kid and how hard he works, and we believe he'll make strides.
Can you actually expound upon that?
Was that there wasn't a clear-cut number one prospect, that everyone's boards look different. How did you guys look at the talent in this draft coming into the?
So every draft is different, and so there's some drafts where your high-end talent is really high, maybe at the top, and there's some drafts where it's really deep, right, of quality impact players. And we thought this draft was, I get some of the narrative around it, but there were good players well into the first round. So you just try to make the best decision for your team. We don't have 30 slots that we pick. We only have to pick one and, sometimes 2. So, but we liked what we saw in stretches of talent in this draft.
Outside of the X's and O's shoe mechanics, what do you like about him as a character, as a person?
Yeah, again, that willingness to sacrifice. And he was always he's kind of like a quiet, stoic type of personality, but you watch him when teammates have success. It didn't matter if he had 18 points in that game or 6 points, and he was fired up for his teammates, right? So you try to pick up little things along the way that tell you about him as a teammate, what's he like in that locker room, and there were just a lot of positives about him.
You know, there's still some red tape to clear up, but can you explain the rationale of not using the number 8 pick?
I knew you were going to ask me a question I can't answer.
I'm trying to avoid the word.
Yeah, no, can't speak to specifics, but at a point in time, we'll talk about that.
How does it being a 2-day event now change? Instead of going from 30 to 31 in 2 minutes, it's now 18 hours between picks, 19 hours, whatever it is.
No one gets to go home for a while. So everybody's taking a little snack break, and then, you get back to work. It's different. We're all going through it for the first time. So after year one, you sit back and debrief and kind of evaluate what are things that work and how do we get better for next year. But, we're figuring it out on the fly too.
Personally, do you like the 2-day event, or do you want to get it all over at once?
We'll see. We'll answer after day 2. If day 2 goes well, maybe it's a good thing.
How much does this stuff, just like what Jeff and Andrew are talking about, the ability to just, again, not bringing up the word, but spreading everything out, or whatever decision is made, just the ability to keep things consistent over the long haul? Because I know y'all have talked a lot about wanting this to be a long-term thing, like not just jumping right in.
I think the decisions you make over time around your flexibility, around the adaptability with ways with which you can build, we've been pretty consistent with that. And we will. Like I said, we want to build something that's sustainable, and you got to build it brick by brick. And, we hope to do that. But I think all the decisions that we made to this point have been under that premise, and we'll keep going with that.
Fans ask, where's this team going? And they look at 4 and what you guys are doing at 8, what do you do tomorrow, 35 and 48. When it comes to asset management, what would you say to fans that are like, why are we stockpiling all these picks? Why are we making the decisions that we're making?
Because typically it's a pretty good strategy. So we'll try to continue to make sound decisions with whatever we do. And we want to continue to improve the team. We know that we've got a great runway here. We've got some great young talent, and we look to build around them in the right way.
Were you tempted to move up? Were there some calls, conversations?
Yeah, somebody who worked in the business for a long time, I won't say his name, but as I was learning and growing in the business, he told me, every year I try to trade for every pick in the draft. and he's probably, a little sarcastic, but it's a great thing to just be active, be on the phone, understand what it takes to move up, move back, whatever it is. And so we've kind of taken that on. So
How does that foster relationships for later? Like, I know that maybe it sounds like a vague question, but just, being on the phone with people, talking to people,
yeah.
and as everything pans out for years and years to come, like how much does that matter?
Yeah, it's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
It's we're all competitive people, and we're competing against each other, but you're in the same gyms, you're on the same planes, you see guys all the time, and you build relationships, and the more you're on the phone, you build work relationships, you build personal relationships, but when you have that trust, it makes getting to actual deals a little bit easier.
And book,
Pop,
I know you guys have. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, Pop famously told us that last game, he says, I'm ready to go. I'd like the season to start tomorrow.
Mm.
Was he more actively involved in this draft preparation than he typically has been in the past especially when he was taking teams into June?
I'll say this. I've been incredibly impressed by the entire group. This is probably one of the most collaborative draft processes I've ever been a part of across all of basketball operations. So it was great to see, and I think the outcomes were great tonight.
How does it being a 2-day event change round 2 now as you go forward? Because now you have so many hours to contemplate. Okay, maybe these guys will make this move, or we should make this move. How does it change your strategy going into tomorrow?
It's a great question. We'll see. We still got work to do tonight.
I don't know if we get to talk too much in the next week or so before free agency opening opens, but you feel like you've got the flexibility to be as aggressive as you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, once the bell rings, we'll put together a plan and try to execute. Free agency is always interesting because you can want to do things, but people have to choose you as well. So when that time comes, we'll figure out a strategy and go from there.
On that, Devontae's money, I think guarantees on July 1st. If you guys made a decision on that, and I think it's Julian and Charles have options that guarantee by August 1st. Have you guys made any decisions on those?
No decisions at this moment.
Any complications with Zach's recovery from surgery?
No, he's doing great. He's working hard every day, and obviously it was unfortunate, but you guys know Zach. He's a hard worker, and he's super competitive. So he attacked his rehab like he attacked the game, so he's doing really well.
Thank you, Brian.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank y'all.
Sir.